Al Roker. Wow. What a great story. They should make a movie about it. Oh, wait, they did.
We have an okay, great. Yeah.
Or we could just play music and walk around and the music stops. And we all get goodie bags. Did you all have a good time? So we got everybody who was involved in the film, and again, we're Al Roker Entertainment. We're very proud to be part of this. Tim came to us about this. There was no way we could say no because it's just such it's an American story at the end of the day. And Tim, you come to this in a way. How did you get involved? Because I guess Malcolm happens to be a stranger to you.
So I met Malcolm, we were both students at Temple University, which is in North Philadelphia, which is Malcolm's district. It's where, as you saw in the film, he was born, raised, still lives in, went to college there. And so I met him. I was working on a show called Temple Smash, which was like a SNL at Temple, and Malcolm was the host of one of the episodes because he started this slam poetry group called Babel. And so the poetry that you saw there, he'd been doing that around campus, and so he hosted an episode. And from there, I just sort of, kept in touch with him, followed what he was up to, and I could tell he was going to do something. And I saw him speak at a women's march, and I filmed it, and I sent it to him, and I said, hey, if you are ever running for office, let me know. I think there might be a story here. And he said, that's never happening. And yeah, like, I don't know, 5 or 6 years later, here we are. And so, yeah, I don't know. He's always been open to my style of storytelling and really allowed me in to get the access to tell the story here. So.
And Hunter, what made you jump in to help produce this?
For us, it's a love letter. Earl, you guys can hear me. It's a love letter to me growing up as a gay man. I didn't have the role models to look up to that a true love story that you two had, because we lost that. And so that's first and foremost. And the second is, as a company, we're 60+ storytellers, and we believe in a republic that represents us. And Malcolm, you're that love letter. It just got lost in the mail. So I hope that one day you'll get answered by a lot of us, and that's how we jumped on this film.
So Malcolm, to be able to, it's one thing to be able to run for office, but yet then also to have a crew or multiple film crews following you, when you're already doing a run for this historic run in a sense. Did it ever occur to you to think, maybe I don't want to have an all-seeing eye following me almost 24/7?
You know what? There are those moments. There are those moments where it's very, uncomfortable, particularly moments that are emotional, particularly having like multiple cameras in your face as you lose a national campaign in front of the world. That was an awkward moment. But as a matter of principle, I made a promise to myself when I ran for state rep that I was going to always run or lose as myself. And that I don't owe it to you or to anybody else to turn myself into a pretzel and, do yoga and make myself a different person depending on what audience I am. My only responsibility is to be myself, to talk to people about what my ideas are to make their lives better. And then people make a decision about who they feel best reflects the future they envision for themselves, the values that they have. And we try to do that every single day. And I'm just really lucky that, Tim's approach to this really is to be a fly on the wall. And I think toward the end of it, and I know this feels like odd to say, but I forgot he was there. Like I really did. Like it becomes like a piece of the furniture in a nice, in a nice way. And I'm like, oh shit, he just recorded all of that just happened.
To the point where we had a camera mounted on front of his car on election day, and he didn't even notice it.
I was wondering about that.
It was like midday, and I was like, oh my God, there's this camera on the car.
So Dr. Matt, first of all, the two of you, I don't think there's a couple that has better hair than the two of you. I like that.
I'm second place though, like that's fine.
Hey, Tim and I are incredibly jealous. When I saw Dr. Matt's pick, I thought I haven't used one of those since high school. The original ones. But anyway, and I love your give and take because you got well, it's Mr. and Mr. No, well, it's Doctor and Mr. Well, it's Honorable and Doctor. And it's almost the same question to you, Dr. Matt, in that it's one thing to be, the spouse of a political candidate, but and obviously it's this wonderful partnership. But yeah, you're breaking ground in so many ways, and again, a camera crew following you around. Was there any trepidation in first of all, it's a high enough profile thing to begin with, but then to having camera crews following you the whole time.
Well, Al, I'm a millennial, so we kind of film ourselves. I think, but to your point around, and Malcolm's point also around being a little bit uncomfortable with being yourself, I think the scene you saw before of me doing my hair and whatever, like I think for me it was like breaking the fourth wall and just, having someone like Tim who really is trying to just capture who you are, what you're about. Not feeling like I need to do anything different. Like I obviously I wake up like this, right? But I put a lot of thought into how I show up in the world, and I thought it was important for people to see that, especially in Pennsylvania, where the Crown Act was in legislation, where you could get fired for wearing your hair naturally. I thought it was really important for that aspect of it to be seen. And yeah, I think also just, as Malcolm often says, bravery begets bravery. There's a lot of moments that I didn't know who would watch and who would care, but I had him, and I had so many people who were affirming me, interpersonally and giving me the encouragement to just keep being yourself, and I think that's. That's all you need.
It's one of the most, I think, just lovely scenes was when you did the counter proposal. And what I found interesting was that I think it was the first time in the film that Malcolm was fairly speechless.
Mission accomplished.
I was very upset, which Tim did not put in it. After that were a lot of explicatives, but you hear it cuss a lot anyway, so. I was upset my team. I was like, you all lied to me.
You knew the jig was up though that day. It was weird. It was hard to pull that.
You did a great job, and what I loved it, when you were basically just making this.
What's out, Al?
Any words here? What's going on? But yeah, one of the things that I think people may forget about, we think we've come a certain distance, and my kids have seen me in the not so distant past get really upset in New York City. I'm dressed in a suit. I've been on the Today Show. They come to the show with me, and I try to hail a cab, and we get passed by, and they see their father getting angry. And in that scene when you're in LA and you're holding hands and people are giving you a load of crap about that, you kept your composure amazingly. I mean, I've actually hurt my hand slamming the hoods of cabs as they go by and pass me by. Yet does it surprise you that that's still out there?
No, and listen, people's hatred and bigotry, that's their burden to carry, not mine. I feel like ultimately, you know, when you think about what's happening in this moment, and the, you know, political leaders who are stoking it, there is a constant anger that they have and that they want you to have. I mean, think about what it took to wake up on January 6th and be like, I'm storming today. Like, that's crazy. And like, what it takes to say, like, I'm banning Rosa Parks' book, like, that's insane. And so I think one of the best things we can do is to be happy in the face of a bunch of yelling, screaming nonsense. What they want is to shrink you, to make you dim your light. And the most successful thing is to ignore them. I mean, it does not get under my skin at all, actually.
Well, so I want to put a finer point on this scene in a couple ways. So we were in LA, but we were specifically in Menor Park. We have some people from Menor Park folks in here. Yeah. Okay. So you know, I think Malcolm has one reaction to it. You know, just forget them, ignore them, and I was, as you saw, like turning around, wanting to like figure out who they were, because that was the place I did my dissertation work. Like, I have a deep, you know, relationship to that place. And you know, it did take me aback a bit, and he, you know, tugged me along. What wasn't in that scene though was the reactions from people before and after that moment. And we actually had a woman who, as you saw, vendors, we were walking down the street, Dagenham Boulevard, and she saw us, and I walked up to her shop, and you know, I was a little bit distraught, and she was just like, "Hey, like, y'all two, I love it." She's gonna keep it going. You know,
They got some free soap.
yeah, she gave us this. Shout out to the Seabox lady. Yeah, that's and there were other people who.
Too bad I didn't have it from a Mercedes dealership.
Right. So there are people, you know, like I said, you know, before, about folks who encourage you, like, privately, like, they're not gonna be the loud folks, but like, you have that silent majority sometimes, or at least that quiet majority, who, you know, offer that spine on your back too.
Yeah. So Tim, this was a journey to make this film. To give everybody a sense of, you know, and I was, like I said, proud to be along this journey with you, but you ultimately made this film. What was this journey like?
Ooh, exhausting, but so rewarding, you know, especially on nights like tonight where you can kind of see that reaction. I lived this so close, as Malcolm and Dr. Matt and other people here know, for the better part of 2 years. And so, you know, there are days, much like the campaign, where you get tired of it, you get dejected, you get sad, but ultimately, you know, the story is too powerful for you to let go of. And so, you know, I would come back to these scenes, you know, like you mentioned, the counter proposal, or the wedding, or the end scene. I know it was hard for you, but to me, that's one of my favorite scenes in the film, just because of how raw it is. And it's one of the few moments of the film where there's silence, you know, no music, no talking, no anything. And I would watch these moments again, and I would, you know, fall in love all over again. And, you know, making a movie is hard, and it takes a lot out of you, but I'm gonna do it again, for sure. Yeah. And I'm always thankful to, I say this, you know, every time, but you know, Dr. Matt and Malcolm were so gracious with their time, and there were times when I wanted to shoot something and they would say, really? And they would let me do it, and some of those things made the film, some didn't, but they were always, you know, trusting and you know, open to the idea of this film from the get-go, and so that's what makes it great.